Hey everybody, Brady here from BGWX. We're live breaking down the upcoming January pattern here. Stay tuned because it's going to be, again, not a lot of people think a lot of changes have happened, but cold and snow is becoming more and more likely as we get closer here for the eastern US. So take a walk with me here in this live stream. We're going to break everything down. If you're rewatching and you're just tuning in, welcome. Let me just get set up here and we will get cooking. Let me just get set up. Alrighty. How are we doing, everybody? How are we doing? Just getting set up here. Almost a happy new year now. Almost a happy new year. Alrighty, getting cooking here. CB19. At least one big snowstorm, yes. Yes, actually that's a good way. As you come in, comment how many snowstorms do you think you'll see this year? For your location, how many snowstorms do you guys think you're going to see this year? Okay. Reopen. There we go. Got my pen tool here. Alrighty. Alrighty. Yes. Well, hello everybody. How are we doing? How are we doing? Let's get a quick sip of water and get started here. So let's hope we don't have we shouldn't have as many audio issues this time, at least hopefully. If I do, I'll be able to catch on to them quicker. But also let me know too right away if it even pauses out for like 10 seconds. Let me know. I do have a new mic and new setup, so a couple new things, but let's start right away. So the system is still a little bit intriguing to me, so I want to keep at least mentioning it, so that we're talking about it right here. And again, this sets the stage for everything. So if I slide here to North America, so here's this system right here that I'm talking about, and this is kind of going to be coming in tomorrow night into tomorrow, where it's going to be rain for a lot of people, especially along the coast. And then as we progress, the cold air starts to collapse, and in the interior, we'll see on the backside, we'll see some good snow, even lake effect snow, and even some snow along the Smokies up there and up the Appalachians along in Pennsylvania. There'll be potential for some snow, but mainly, I mean, it is a transfer system, and we will see cold air, but not until too late, until after. So that cold air comes in again towards the ending of this system, and the storm does strengthen into the 980s as it moves out of here. And does kind of set the stage now, locks in our cold air. And then after that, we do see another system. This is the one I'm talking about. The GFS, it's just the general idea since we're not looking at specifics. But for specifics, there could be accumulating snow for the Berkshires, for southern Vermont, and really for much of Vermont, into New Hampshire and Maine, and across New York State and into central and western Pennsylvania. I wouldn't be surprised to see some accumulating snow there as well, and there will be lake effect as well along with that. So that's kind of what we have cooking right now. But the general idea here then after that is, so we have, the storm works as a confluence piece basically. This will make it, I think, really too difficult, although interesting a little bit at face value. If we were a few frames behind here, or if this trough was a little bit further back west, I would start saying maybe this could be a system to keep an eye on. And maybe it could be for some mid-Atlantic or southern, or keep an eye on for the mid-Atlantic or the Carolinas. But I think that this is going to be too suppressed. There's been a little talk about it, but there could be some snow that does come through the mid-Atlantic into maybe even some of the Carolinas into the south, maybe as far south as Georgia. If the system were to really get suppressed, we'll keep an eye on that. But the general idea is, as I kind of regurgitate the model a little bit more than I would like, but I'm not too worried about the specifics for this one, as this isn't a significant event. So just kind of detailing the general idea. And the euro does have this one as well. If I slide to upper 500 Vort, go zoomed out. This was 18Z euro. You can see it has this system as well. Develops just a little bit later on the euro is one thing here. You can see it turns into more of just some scattered light snow and maybe some ocean effect snow, a little bit of almost inverted trough, just a little bit, maybe. But what it does turn into is a massive snowstorm in Atlantic Canada. It turns in, they're going to get an absolute whopper, probably up by Newfoundland. And what that does do, it does, again, it's another piece of the pattern that does set the stage here for what's to come. And if I slide back out to North America, and what this does do, it sets up everything in kind of a I don't want to say unique manner, but it's gonna, every solution that's different will create another unique scenario after. So you can see the GFS really amplifies the system, and it really gets caught in the flow of even the previous system that was a confluence piece. Never fully wraps up, as you can see you can clearly see the high pressure here over Greenland. Never able to quite fully wrap up here. You can see it's a real mess out here, and so this is going to cause some chaos for models. Like, I really urge caution with you all that are so caught up into all these model runs. Like, we have the pattern for cold air locked into place with a block over. We have a true negative NAO persisting Western Ridge. Now, the placement of that Western Ridge will key, and it will for sure heavily define how this plays out. And we might not be able to get snow on every single opportunity. And just because every single storm is not a snowstorm, it doesn't mean you're still not going to get something, or eventually that snowstorm is going to come. Like, I don't think it's being realized here that this may not just be like this. This is not just because you can't see beyond 360 hours on the models. It doesn't mean that there's not more to come after that as well. This is a persistent pattern we had in place. But my point is, with this system, is there's going to be a different solution. And when this is, especially with this being such a strong storm, look how big this storm is too. Look how massive this storm is. This works as a tail confluence piece and directly affects the vort that comes in behind it. So when you're looking at this pattern in general, there's a lot of different pieces at play, right? You have your block over Greenland, and then this kind of works to displace a good chunk of the polar vortex that comes in down after. And also, look at all the convection you have out here in the Pacific, right? All the storms you have out here, is especially, and all these pieces are going to work their way down, and you have a cross-polar flow. So the timing and the evolution in which these pieces of upper level energy come are going to be different on every single model run. So we have fun, I post, some fun, some stuff on some of the model runs, but when you have just look at the screen, look how much upper level energy there is around. There is there's a lot going on here. And so when you have this in place, it makes things almost lisp there, Sammy Sprinkler. It makes it makes things messy. It makes things very, very messy, and it's hard for models to depict the solution. So that's why you have to go back to the ensembles as well and realize, oh, like we have. If I don't think the GEFS is quite fully out yet, so I'll slide happily to the 18Z GEFS. Slide here to 500. Vamos. There we go. So when you have like height lines that build in behind in like a general idea of a 50-50 potential low, and I get it, this is, but that the general idea, yes, maybe specifically you would like this to be a little bit further west, but the general idea is there. This is like this look in general to be having like 10 days, like 9 days out is like a really good winter look. It's like a really good winter look. On whether Chicagoland can get a decent. You talking about Chicago in general? Yeah, we're going to talk about that system. I'm kind of breaking down like the general idea. I'm setting my way up into it. But like the general, so I'm making a point first. My point is the general details of this pattern are like present and they're clear. Now the specific details of each setup, I think people are misconstruing. If I said that right, I'm not an English major, so screw it. The point is, people are messing up what they're like. They have a skewed perception of how this pattern is playing out versus individual setups. A pattern and setups are not the same thing. You're not going to get every single setup to hit, even in your best patterns. It doesn't work like that. It's really rare. 2015 was such a rare, was a rare thing that, it's like, I think like people still go back to that, especially in New England, but it's really rare for you to get hit on every single setup. And so you kind of got to just accept that we have a very good, I'm going to go even out to Northern Hemisphere to kind of display. It might be a little small for you guys, but I like seeing the whole picture. And so the idea that we have height lines that keep building back in, right, with this cross-polar flow here, it allows you to continuously have opportunities for storm threats with cold air in place during January, in the middle of January. You can't ask for a better pattern in January, really. You really can't. This is a golden pattern. It's a golden pattern. It's not perfect by any means. But if you want to have an opportunity for widespread cold and widespread snow opportunities in the eastern U.S., this is the kind of the pattern you really want here. You really do want. So like I think there's a skewed perception of like having the specific exact look on models you want so far out. And it makes my point exactly for January 5th through 7th. I think we can still call that a general storm, but as you can see on the latest GFS run, and we'll come back here to North America. You can see here on the latest GFS run for this system. Every time this run, so we have a different run every time, especially with this confluence piece back here. This kind of plays a huge part, and we'll work to if this storm amplifies sooner. If this storm amplifies sooner, even more, we'd have to start even maybe. I don't think it's going to get close enough for that. It would take some ridiculousness to happen. And there's just too much confluence ahead of it to really be able to make a closer approach to the coast. But what it does, if this keeps being stronger, this confluence piece will work to de-amplify the wave behind it. In other words, making it harder for this storm to consolidate and come up further north in latitude. And will really work to suppress the system, and it'll just be a lighter event, and it'll probably stick even further south than this area, and it will force then areas in here, if I stop drawing too much over, it'll force areas more further south to have an opportunity then to be like a true, Ohio Valley into Mid-Atlantic potential snowstorm, and then across, some of the parts of uh, out by the plains and the Midwest as well. So that's how that system would kind of set up. And to answer your question, no, we can't start talking numbers for Monday because we don't know exactly. We don't have a clear idea yet. Like, I can't stress enough. Like, I think we haven't tracked like a good winter pattern in a while, and it's really throwing people off. I think that you still have to track each individual setup by itself. Like, it's every pattern is kind of unique. Um, it's different, and you have to track it. But you can't. I don't know what I'm saying, but you can't track it. Jack, my day has been fine. Thank you for asking. But you can't just start, losing all the principles for how you do things. That's why I said I feel like I know how I do things. I know how I operate. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm not even amazing, but I'm half decent at being able to at least break stuff down. I'm not some crazy meteorology mind, but I have a little bit of a feel for seeing the patterns, literally, not figuratively, in terms of weather, on in every run that comes up, and being able to identify the changes and how it leads to be able to predict what's going to happen. So there's a lot of complicated things that happen. And luckily, I've been able to study enough now where I can at least get a little bit of a better idea of how things shake up. But this is a real messy. Now, I will say this is the messiest run I've maybe seen yet of the GFS. You really get that vort. To set up in behind this too. That's a real long that's a real long vort that comes in. It's a large system. And what this ends up doing, since this confluence is so strong, it actually ends up pressing on this so much. And then this vort out here ends up actually spreading this out even more, giving almost no opportunity for this system to really consolidate whatsoever. The upper level energy, and boom, it kind of just gets spread out. So it doesn't really allow for anything, significant to really happen. But what you do able to get is still a decent snow event. You can see that on the GFS, but this would be the most farthest solution yet. As you can see at 18Z, that thing was a lot further northwest on the last run. Even it was a New England snow solution, and 12Z was even further north. So the models that you're pointing are going to change all around. Where did my cursor go? Here we go. Let's go here. I mean, you can just look at the changes from run to run. Go GIF and compare runs, and you go 0.2. Actually, we're gonna go 0.4, and just look at the changes. See, look how much the storm here is affecting what's going on. The confluence was here, now it's here, much stronger, working to de-amplify the wave behind it. And then how the western ridge comes in behind that affects the next storm. So here I would be super high on this system from even days out in advance, but it's far from set in stone. I really think people want to give like true predictions, and try to have some confidence, true confidence that it's going to exactly like play out like this. And I don't try to do that too much. And I know it's important to try to make predictions and forecasts, but I really like to detail the scenarios and then lean towards what I think is more likely to happen, but really highlight and put more weight on alternate scenarios and explain why the different things can happen, so you guys can get an understanding for what every little change could possibly result in. And that way we lighted it and you're not caught off guard by what could happen. And that's kind of how I've liked to operate. But look at the changes. I mean, this is just over the course of the last 4 runs here. 5 runs, I guess. 4, yeah, it's 4 runs. Over the course of the last 4 runs here, these are the changes that have happened. A different evolution with the polar vortex and like literally every single run. That's a huge factor. That's a massive factor. How that, where the strength of the Western Ridge when this comes in after as well. That directly influenced the storm as well when it comes in. And we're still, if we take a look from when this happens, slide here to OZ, and then we'll go to upper air stratosphere and show you guys what I'm talking about. Boom. And see how that lobe of the polar vortex has a different influence on every run. You can see this piece right here. Well, that's real cold. I mean, this is all air you have in place. Don't get me wrong, but real deep cold Arctic air there up in central southern Canada. But notice each run has a different solution of that, a different way of playing out. See, it really brings in colder air on O6Z and OZ, and on 18Z and OZ it decides we're not going to bring as strong of a lobe from the polar vortex down as far south, at least not yet. And it makes a huge difference. It makes a significant difference. So I really urge caution putting so much weight on all these long range models. It really is not, we're just not close enough yet to be able to have a good feel individual storm setups. And I get that's what matters most. And I know I put the title, Will There Be Big Snowstorms in January? Yes, to grab your attention a little bit, but not clickbait. I think there will be at least one significant storm at some point here in January. I'd favor here, but I wouldn't be so. I wouldn't just say guarantee anything's going to happen. And again, I've expanded here, so I have a lot of different people now who, from especially now in the Carolinas, Ohio, even I guess my man from Chicago, Matt here. Again, I primarily am mid-Atlantic Northeast still, but I'm all for all weather, especially in the eastern U.S. And I can't guarantee that your backyard is going to get all this that you dream of. But what I can say is you have the pattern in place here. So again, it's complicated for a lot of different reasons, but I really can't highlight enough how much you should expect different. There's just so much going on in the atmosphere, and we have such an active pattern. We're moving to phases 8 and 1 here of the MJO coming up. So again, it's convective pulse often associated here with the tropics, and increases chances oftentimes for cold and snow in the eastern U.S. as well, and just in the U.S. in general, more precipitation. But you have to look at all these different factors and then be able to be like, okay, well, if this happens, then this can happen, and then if that or that, and then it would lead to that or that. So you basically do like a pyramid, like you do a pyramid of different solutions that could happen. And like you have all the solutions then that could happen. And you see now when something else happens, now you have all of these different solutions, and it keeps going on and on and on. It's a big just pyramid effect, really. So weather's a big old pyramid scheme. And yes, Celtics Banner 19 makes a good point. All it takes is one, especially if you live really anywhere. We'll zoom in. If you live really anywhere, like, go that far south of here, basically all it takes is one snowstorm for your whole. not including the mountain terrains here, not including the mountain terrains. If you live in this area here, it really basically only takes one snowstorm to make your whole winter. Will the Euro be out soon? I mean, Thomas, again, I can't stress it enough. It's not. Don't worry. It's fine for you guys to have. I want questions about individual setups. Like, I want it, but I want to stress to you guys that we don't have clear cut time signals. Yeah, I threw some stuff out, and it was like earlier this morning, I guess. Basically, yeah, these are time signals, I guess, to watch. But as I stated in that tweet, it's extremely fluid. As Stephen A. Smith says, the list is fluid. Anybody that gets that reference watches ESPN. My point is, it's not clear cut. There's no clear cut exact dates for storm signals, and that should be a red flag immediately. That we're not having, especially a lot of the good sources out there. I like to think I'm one. I'm not the best, but I'm a decent one. I'm confident in that. I'm at least a reputable one. Jesus, I should maybe take some English, but my point is, there's no clear cut mentioning of every single specific setup that's happening right now. You really need to like take that as like there's still a lot of confusion as to when exactly we could get a storm. Now, I will say that this time frame is something I keep an eye on here. You do have a southern, in theory, after this, so we can kind of break down the general idea of something that happens after. So after January 5th to 7th, whatever happens here, the general idea remains the same. Is you get a low, you get some piece of a northern branch that may or may not be connected here to the polar vortex. You'll get some real Arctic air to potentially work with. Some models have brought more, others have brought less. You have this piece here, and then you'll have another vort that comes off here off the Pacific, and it's a question of, is it able to get out ahead of that main vort? Can it catch it? Can we see a phase here at some point? And the time frame for this could potentially drastically be different depending on how this shapes up. So it's one thing I would still say is impossible is this gets delayed, this vort here as well. You're not able to get as much, and you get a strong vort that comes out here, and then you re-enthuse the idea of maybe a January 8th, 9th system again, because this is de-amplified and this comes on through. But again, you would need a little bit less. You need your block to be less stronger. You need this confluence piece to work out of way. So one question I have is, will this system be too strong, sit around for too long, and work to suppress what comes next? I would hate to not get enough stream separation here. And one thing we could do to help with this is weaken is move the placement of our western ridge out here a little bit north and west. Kind of talking about with that December 20th system. We would preferably, if we wanted to, specifically based on what we have now, if we were to overanalyze long-range models based on specifically what we had now, and we wanted to get a large-scale snowstorm for the eastern U.S., and in particular, especially the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Now, this would be fine maybe for Southeast places to kind of you have now on models. If you were to specifically have what you had now operational on some of these operations here. But what I would love to do, back off a little bit, and especially up here to the north too, I would love to knock down quite as much here. and I'll be able to get a little bit more stream separation between these two. You can see you get the kind of the 50-50 low setup here to potentially set up, but you need a little bit more stream separation one way or another, or both, regardless. Either this to get out of town a little bit sooner, or your ridging allow for this to drop in a little bit sooner, or a strong enough polar vortex and exactly where it kind of gets dropped off to decide maybe it comes in a little bit further west and knocks on the door of that ridge a little bit better. Or potentially to get this to come out a little bit sooner as well. So you have a lot of different avenues, but you have the ingredients there, I will say, for a very large storm after into the middle to latter part next week. Though the ingredients for a large, especially mid-Atlantic northeast snowstorm are there, absolutely present. The question is, where would it develop in? That's ultimately we kind of just have to wait and be a little bit patient. And then after that, I think there's another opportunity. Would it be 11 to 12th to 13th, maybe 14th? I don't know. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. This is my point. This is my point here. Notice that there is not a ending of opportunities here with this system. There are plenty with this pattern system. There are a lot of opportunities for people to get in on, and models are not perfect. I will bring up December 20th again. I'll bring it up. I know we were just one last final. We were one more infinity ring away, or infinity stone away from being able to get that to really play out the way we wanted. But I mean, you got to admit that nobody thought you even had anything, and luckily I was still tracking enough. So until I overshot one of those maps, it's fine. Do it from time to time. But let me go here, open this up. I'll full screen this MF right here. There we go. Maybe too much, but this was over the course. See, we were about 4 days out with our 700 energy. That was just 4 days out. Less than, almost like 3.5, really it was. And we finished about right here with that 700 for it. And it was the same for the upper level energy. I mean, you can see the trough as we had. And you can see all the back and forth in between, and that was 5-6 days out. So that's my point here with models, is that they're not perfect. They're not designed to be perfect. That's it. And then my point is, we're not getting a snowstorm. I never said that. I never meant that exactly with that tweet either. Yes, the ocean effect. Yes, that was very good storm there. But Jacob, to a question about DC. It's January 6th, I think, is actually not a bad setup for DC. I think it's something to watch for a potential snow event. And I know DC units are a little bit lower, so there isn't an opportunity for accumulating snow with January 5th to 7th, I will say. Opportunity, but it's very messy. It's very messy. In the same with Chicago, I would say as well. I have to mention it here. If you're in the YouTube chat, for everybody in here, hit that like if you haven't. It does help a lot, helps tremendously. You guys don't even know. Just might have to mention it because I forget to. But let me see. Let me go through some more questions here. John, how are we doing, man? If we all get an entire pattern in the month of January, it is one major blizzard that's widespread from Philly to Maine, I will be happy. Me too. I would love to get one moderate event as well in there. I mean, one moderate and the one really what I said I wanted. My dream winters are get two mini blockbusters and one all-out major blockbuster. That's my dream winter right there. And throw in some little things after. Let's see. Yes, all it takes is one. Boston usually takes two storms, but I would be yes. North of New York City, typically, north of Long Island, it's typically it's typically more than one storm. Can the January 5th bring 18 to 24? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that's on the table. That was just one kind of basically inverted trough Euro bomb, I think, on that one, or GFS, whatever it was, a day or two ago. I don't think you're gonna. I think it's gonna be probably 2 weeks. Now, if it were an inverted trough, that'd be kind of an interesting setup for sure. But I don't think January 5th to 7th is going to be a significant event. But yes, the general idea of this pattern, again, I can't stress it enough. This is a really good pattern. It sounds repetitive, but it is. I really just wanted to go live. I wanted to clear up things. I wanted to kind of set it straight. My thoughts, they really haven't changed. The models have, though, and that's all that, and not even significantly. Really, it's rather we didn't see some large scale change in the pattern. Ensembles have been rather consistent in the general idea. It's just they're not hitting. It's just you're not seeing as many fantasy snowstorms on ensembles consistent. That's about it. And we didn't get any fantasy snowstorms after 06 today. I mean, that's really all that's changed. The general idea of the pattern, and again, this idea that after you get continue 50-50 low potential setups here with a consistent negative NAO and a Western Ridge, it's a real good pattern. You get cross polar flow. It's a golden January pattern. And when you turn the calendar to January, you can't ask for a much better pattern that we're going to get upcoming here. Doesn't guarantee everybody gets a massive snowstorm. Would I favor everybody to at least get a decent snow event in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast? I would. There'll be at least one, and I'd favor potentially some snow at some point for the South as well. I would say I would lean that there's a better shot that that Carolinas, northern Alabama, Mississippi, even Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Georgia, they can, even central Georgia, maybe they could all, even to the coast of the Carolinas too, they could all have a shot for some snow with this pattern. And that goes to show, how real deep and Arctic cold air we're going to have to work with here as we're moving into the, peak coldest time frame too. So cold air is not going to be a problem. And that's the thing that I really can't stress enough. We're going to consistently have cold air to work with on tap, which we can't, and with the opportunity for snowstorms as well. We haven't really been able to say that for a lot of winters. We haven't been able to, unfortunately. How the storm? It's an operational model. I know you were just coming in, but I really spent. That was kind of my point for the first 30 half hour or so, that there's just, you reinforce it again. There's just a lot of upper level. You can replay it after too, but there's a lot of upper level energy here to work through. There's just a lot of upper level energy here that needs to come through, and models need to sort them, and that's the reality. And the specifics of each setup then will then play themselves out. like location of a ridge. Ideally, if there's one thing that I would love to improve, my one thing that I would say that I would want to change is, can we consistently back off this western ridge a little bit more? And when we do that, I mean, this is the GFS operational, but I guess I really would prefer the ensemble. How far loaded out is this? 12. Well, that's fine. I would love to back off this ridge just a little bit. I would really love for our northern branch of vorticity to be able to sit and come in a little bit further west. Remember, it's a cross polar here, which is the key, and that's what allows consistent cold air into place, rather than having consistent strong subtropical jet and warm air flow proceeding, and less overrunning events. This one is going to be an event to start off, and then the CAD kind of works its magic January 5th to 7th, but after that, we start to see that cross polar flow kick in, and this is how you do things. Pieces of energy drop, and really what we don't want to do either is we don't want to sink some of our vorts. We can slide under the vort. There we go. I don't know why I'm singing. There we go. We don't want to sink our vorts too far south. We really want to be able to initially be able some of this energy be able to get out ahead of our northern vorts. Again, not too soon. I'll bring up a track that would be too much, but even then you would still get a significant event before the main show would cross over. Even if we did see that was a little bit too west for, say, these areas, kind of, what you would do is you would still get a large sum of snow in front of a track that would come too far west. And so, what that's the beauty of I think weather forecasting here is there's a lot of models. Again, I appreciate everybody here on YouTube. Hit that like if you're in here in the YouTube. Appreciate you all on X. But there's a lot to still be sorted out here by models. And I think, again, this is where I like to start breaking things down in depth here. It's a lot easier for people when it's just consistently showing, perfect snowstorm on every single run. That's really, and even in a lot of snowstorms this far out, it's not even how it really works. Now, a lot of times on the big ones, you do get some consistency in like a week. You start getting consistency, and we kind of had there with this system. And we've even, I know it's not every run, but there's a relative consistent idea that a piece of the polar vortex gets dropped down here, and you have then your southern branch of energy that on some runs gets front and others gets left behind. If you can get enough to get out in front and be able to pull your energy further north and get enough separation here, then get a significant snowstorm in that January 8th to 11th kind of time frame. I guess I would put it somewhere in that time frame. And that's how you cash. And you can see on this specific GFS operational run, nearly 10 to 11 days out, it shunts this off too much. You don't get enough stream separation between here. Your western ridge is too strong. It's really going into pretty much the Dakotas, and you would to be ideally at least a 200-300 further west. And in the broad scheme of things, that's a pretty minor change for models to make if they were to. But I can't even really break this down as a true setup yet, because I don't know all the pieces that we're going to be tables specifically. I just have the general idea of what happens after this. Same with others. Like you see how like messy it is, all blotchy. There's so many different areas of 500 height here that are going to make it really complicated and allow for different variations. And when a different variation of an individual setup has, it affects the setup for the next one. And that's where it gets complicated. And that's why I really advise caution on trying to buy into all of these, longer range model runs. Just because even the ones that hit, will get excited, and everybody will have the right to do so when those long range ones hit, as they will continue to do so, however so frequently. But really, what matters is, do you have the setup present to be able to get snow, especially in the longer range, which we do. And then you'll have another opportunity after, and likely again. There's no signs that this pattern is just going to vanish. None. Even after 2 weeks. So let's see how this compares to the actual. What am I on here? I am on North America here. Let's see how it compares to the GFS operational. So this is 200 hours out. Let me read your comments in a second, guys. Keep throwing in your questions in there. This is 213 hours. There's the ensemble mean, and there's the operational. It's not bad. But there's a lot of different solutions for the course of all these runs here. So you can see there's just going to be a bunch of solutions on all these runs to see. There you go. That's what you like to see. I don't know if you're looking at change there. The more you can sink your height lines further west and get more stream separation between these two in this time frame, the better. Upstate Lakes now. Welcome, my man. Glad to see you. Yeah, I'm talking about the general. I'm talking about really after the 5th to 7th system, and we'll look at the Euro. We'll look at that in a second. The GFS. It doesn't really matter what the operational. So, I wouldn't really talk about the specifics of what those runs show. And I really wouldn't get too caught up on it. The latest run is not the most accurate. I really can't stress that enough. A lot of people think the latest run is the best run, and that's not how it works. The latest run is one possible scenario out of, especially in the longer range, more. Every 6 hours you add another different possible scenario. Right? This pyramid scheme, is what I'm calling it, basically. Models for big pyramid scheme. All these different solutions that can happen that are, and you can't get too caught up in the specifics. All these different solutions that are possible here. And the longer you go out, the more you add on. You can see where I'm going. So the point is, no, the latest run is not the most accurate. The latest run is just the most recent. does not mean it's the most accurate. It just has more updated data to do another setup or to do a different run. And every run that comes in after will do something similar. The latest run is never the greatest run. You can't stress that enough. And that's really a great change from 18Z to OZ, guys, on the GEFS. You love to see that if you want snowstorm, in my opinion. Get that western ridge to back off more towards central Montana, and get your troughing to sit further back. You get a more stream separation. That's a good run to run change from the GEFS if you're getting specific. Specify. All right, let's take a look at the Euro. Let's see what the magic did here. Alrighty. Dang, oh yeah, Euro really gets that vort cooking here on Monday. Really gets that vort cooking. So it's going to get that snow out ahead, and it gets a good. So this is why DC is. But notice the Euro. Look at the trend as you can hear the ad. So I'm doing free promotions here now at VGWX. You're welcome. Whatever alcohol company that was. But you can see here the Euro. 12Z, OZ, a little bit flatter. 12Z, OZ. It is behind. It is a little bit behind, which is good. Or am I wrong? It is further, we'll say. Maybe hold up. I mean, I might have been wrong. Hold up. Sorry. Okay, it is. No, it's further back. My bad. I was looking at 12G compared to OZ first. So I was doing. So Euro was. Let's see here. So Euro has a stronger confluence, though. It does have a stronger confluence on this. We're sponsored. Yeah, we're sponsored, John. It's amazing. Hey, I will say, though, we're about 50 subscribers away. You have to get a certain amount of watch hours on YouTube. But we are 50 subscribers away from being able to get a chance. God Church, my man, how we doing? I'm going to figure out the... I'll figure out those buttons eventually. What they have my mic, I can like do sound effects. I got to figure it out for you guys. How we doing, God Church? Glad to have you back. Came just in time. But the confluence is stronger on this run, but from 12Z. But the angle of the confluence is different as well, I will say. And also our vort gets held further back. I wonder if it comes in later. It is. It's a little bit more held behind here. Also, you get an injection. You get an injection here from that vort. This piece here. This is what I'm saying. There's going to be a lot of different runs. This piece doesn't inject as soon as the next run does here on the OZ, and it makes a huge difference. So 12 at that, and then OZ, you get that piece to come in a little bit sooner, and all of a sudden you get a stronger system now. Just a little bit. It makes a difference. So you get more snow here. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm not ready to get in full tracking mode for the system yet. I really need to, for these systems, I really think, week out tracking is kind of the way to go with some of these. I think get me inside of 6 days, not at 6 days. Give me inside of 6 days first. And we can, for me, I can start then the tracking. But yeah, it's a good run there. So this plays out. Oh, you get a little bit of you get the euro to hit here. Look at that. So this is what I'm talking about. Every run is going to make a difference, and it's not the end of the world when it doesn't. But when it does, it's great. Look at the stream separation you get here on this one now. See the difference? That's just run to run. That's one run. Look at the stream separation you get there. It's beautiful. 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 Awesome. And then look, you get another chance after that. That's my point. You'll have a lot of opportunities to get systems here. Thoughts on a moderate snowstorm for the middle Atlantic GEFS in Europe, but Canadian thoughts. I think as I mentioned, a storm is definitely possible here. A storm, I actually, it's probably. I'm going to keep it to a snow event. I'm not confident in the size of it yet. I would lean. I think there's a little bit of it here, but again, how exactly the upper level energy, plays out is going to make a huge difference, as we pointed out. This vort that drops in behind, the interaction, how much gets caught into the tail end here makes a difference. What's the confluence back here? That will make a difference as well. How soon does this vort decide to, it seems like there's going to be an opportunity for this vort to come north a little bit. How far can it? Location of the confluence. That plays another factor. I would say with this confluence, let's see. No, it's a little bit too far south originally, I think, to get southern New England involved. But that tail end of the confluence, it limits things, and it kind of limits it then to this area, basically. So it forces this area out here for the main area of convection on the euro specifically. But again, look at that. It's 156 hours out. And does it show a good snow? Yeah. It shows a good mid-Atlantic, southern northeast snowstorm there. I still call Pennsylvania, New Jersey, northeast. Deal with it. And yeah, you get one thing we do have working here is, since it's an overrunning event, you will have this will be kind of a warm air event here, where you will have a good moisture source to pull in, and you will at least have a somewhat strong vort to work with, upper level energy, and that will create an area just north of wherever that mix line is, to really be able to thump. Now, the question for if DC or Mid-Atlantic or areas in the Mid-Atlantic or the Northeast, wherever this sets up, this is not confined yet. If this were to drop further south or north, there's going to be likely kind of snow event. It's just hard to say how strong quite yet. So don't really buy into really any totals you saw the runs, even if they're sexy. Like one of you showed like 2 feet the other day in New York City, and I was like, no, it's probably not going to happen. Sorry. I'll happily be wrong if that's the case, but I don't see a 2-foot snowstorm out of this from New York City. But with this setup, notice when does that there likely is going to be a transfer to happen, and you see that, and as that transfer happens, then it allows for areas to get back and to stay snow. So if that transfer is able to happen sooner, then you're going to be able to get a snowstorm like this. That's actually a pretty close. It's not the same. It's kind of a similar. It's not. But that track right there at the end is kind of similar to the good old Blizzard 2016. At the end, at the end, not anything else. I shouldn't have said that. It's not really. It's not even close to the same upper level energy whatsoever. But just the surface map track a little bit. That was it. At the end, how it tracked. Shouldn't have said it. But yes, that kind of covers the euro and what it did with this. No, northeast needs more good look, the better as always. Always rather be up. Don't need every run. The more the better. Yes, so, I mean, it's good. I mean, the more model runs you do have showing, the better. I will say it's not always the best thing to be in the bullseye. Um, really, any days out, even like 2 days, it's not always the best thing to be in the bullseye. It's not. Trust me. February 13th, 2024 is a good example of that last one. You don't necessarily want to be in the bullseye so far out, especially 7 days. That's not a guarantee. 6 days, whatever. But yes, we are tracking. We're still going to keep tracking this one for potentially your kind of January 5th to 7th, and kind of gets held back more on this run. This OZ last night, it's more suppressed on 24 hours. Terrible consistency though in location, but 12Z to OZ, there was a much bigger change. OZ, 12Z gets much more flatter. Now the energy held back more. So even though the confluence is actually extending out maybe even farther, this getting held back more, it's able to have a little bit more stream separation, and it will lose less convection out ahead and get in here. I will say, I don't think you want this to be so strong though. If you do want to cash in on the one after, that's kind of where I'm leaning, but it's not, I'm not fully bought into that either. As I tweeted out earlier, that you need a specific scenario in order for one to happen. I think it's still a little bit too complicated with how that could play out. But you can see, we can look 700 first before we dive into that next long range model hit. I guess we can break it down because why not? But you can see the 700 energy and where it kind of sets up, and the main show, the best dynamics kind of still get centered. Going to be as far north as the snow would get here, and even a little bit further south. But this would kind of be your main snow region here, right in here on that run, and you can see on 700. But notice how you don't get a fully consolidated, weaker stretched out. You don't get that. Originally, you do out here when as it starts flattening out, kind of things. Notice the best dynamics consolidate still a little bit too late. Now, an earlier transfer might allow then potentially, now maybe then that rain snow line comes farther north if you see an earlier transfer take place. A later transfer, notice it happens, the best dynamics consolidate further offshore. And then it's more of a moderate snow event. I guess you can, here's the, you know, get Chera, I guess. There, it ends up being a good amount on the model run itself. I really don't think that would play out to be that much snow, in my opinion. That kind of setup, I think, would be, I think would be a good snowstorm on the Pacific. I'd be a little hesitant. Maybe back here, where your dynamics are really get going. Maybe some of those totals are, I guess, technically possible, but I'd be pretty hesitant to that some of those totals would be that big, even though you will have good cold air to work with in better ratios for those that do on the snowy side. But there is a sleet concern as well, and ice with this system as well. But we're still a little bit far out. All right, before I break down the even, this is really still not quite a specific setup yet, but it is a long range model run, and it's better to break it down than just not talk about it at all, because people are going to talk about it anyway. So might as well address it, and there will be plenty of people talking about it again tomorrow. As guess we're sponsoring lemonade.com pets now. Here, look at all the sponsors we got. They should start paying me. Let me break these down here. Some of these. These need snow. Yes, everybody needs snow. It's a great thing. I had someone comment on the YouTube is what is there to be excited about? Not in the chat, but on one of the videos. Shouldn't be excited. It does the cold and snow, it does bad things. And I was like, this is not the channel for you if that's your opinion. Don't watch it. Let's see. This model run drops at yeah. I mean, it drops snow. It's that. I wouldn't. I'd be pretty hesitant that there'd be a 12 that would drop 12 to 20 inches in the Mid Atlantic. That kind of setup. But it is kind of a long duration. That transfer does allow for a longer duration, like moderate event to happen. So maybe I guess that's like the max ceiling. I guess maybe possible, but I really think more of the ceiling with this system towards the Mid Atlantic and Northeast would be more of a 6 to 12, in my opinion. Just a general. If I am going to kind of make some thoughts about that, it would be more towards that. But maybe if you do have a stronger upper level energy to work with, and you get a sooner transfer to happen, and allow some better 700 dynamics, mid-level dynamics to consolidate sooner, like we talked about. And you can replay that if you would like to rewatch that again. But I think that is how you would get more significant snow to take place then, and it would probably even be a little bit further north, the higher ceiling scenario, in my opinion. It would probably be more New York City-ish, or even New England, southern New England. If that conference piece were to tick farther north, and you have that transfer happen, it would allow for the upper level energy. Here, it would allow for H5 at 500. H5 is the same as 500 here. It would allow for to pull farther north. Yeah, it was not the right channel for you to comment. Why would you even watch it? Actually, thank you for the comment. It allows more people to watch. So when they do that. Yeah, with this channel, you come to Brady's weather breakdowns. You want to know here. But here's another good point here. You know how we're talking about, this euro directly relates to what I'm talking about here. Is you get that, at least a piece of the polar vortex, I believe, here on this run. If I zoom back out here, indeed you do. You get some Arctic. You get at least a little bit pulled in, and at least the source coming from. And again, it's that split polar flow you get here, where you get it. Your upper level energy again drops in, gets kind of disconnected from the flow. Basically, it's almost works at cutoff flow, and then some of it gets used in for whatever happens. Let's break this down as if the euro is it's going to happen, and if there was going to be a snowstorm in this time frame, this I guess 8th to 11th time frame we would call it. This one's even just a little bit later. It could be a 12th or 13th. It could end up being too. You're not going to get 2 snowstorms in that time frame. We'll call it 8th to 13th for now, or 9th to 13th, whatever. It could also be this one. It could still technically be this one, and your iron gets out ahead sooner. Seems like some models are in agreement though that that the ridge is going to press too much originally on that. So then what you get here is you get that western ridge to at least back off enough, and you're able to get at least a good portion and a piece to kick out ahead of this system. And it's farther west here than a GFS, for example. If you were to slide back, I really don't want to slide too much. Get my music back though. Ryan Kane is good. Yeah, he's pretty good for the most part. I think he's finishing up college, and now he's for the most part puts out a lot of good stuff. So I don't got anything bad to say about him, but I'm not gonna really like, for the most part, I'm not really gonna talk about too many other people specifically, and really only usually talk about the massive people like Bernie or Billy that, for at least me personally, I use a lot. That they break down stuff, and I still learn stuff from people like them as well, because it's good to have other influence as well, because sometimes people are talking about something you're not looking at. So I like to try to be able to stick to my forecast and do that the best I can, but I do look at other sources as well. Just you can kind of tell by what person says consistently over time whether or not they have a good insight to add from. So really, I luckily have a pretty decent feel for sources and information just across for stuff, but comes over time. And you see the difference here was this hour 270. You can see the difference on Euro and the GFS. You just get that stream separation, and you're able to get that upper level. It's actually not ridiculously far off. You're able to get that. This piece is still too much, and you're able to get that stream separation here on this specific run compared to the Euro. It's just a long range mall run hit, and that's really all it is. But it is a massive snowstorm, obviously. There's the and that I think this would be even bigger in my opinion than maybe even what the P-type map is showing. That 700 look is golden, especially for New York City to southern New England. You're one frame away from that even being a New York City blizzard as well. I mean, that's a golden freaking. That's special. That's a New England special right there. No, it's not your insight, but I try not to talk about other people's stuff too much on here. Try to stick to the stuff I'm. Try to stick to my thoughts. Not that other people don't have good insight, but it's not out of an insecurity. A lot of people get, so a lot of times some better thoughts than me as well. I'm not perfect all the time by any means, but whether they're great or not, I try to stick to what my thoughts are. So, in my opinions, at least. But I will bring up other people's stuff too. I mean, this is what you do. And let me check, just make sure the cold. Yeah, you still got definitely still got your Arctic air still in place for sure. Look at that. Actually, a little warm on that one. Interesting. Maybe you could have pulled in a little bit more cold air, but it's still a pretty golden run there. You want to look at the snow map? Why not? There you go. Your New England mom right there. Maybe could have pulled in a little bit more Arctic air on that run. Let's see. Just checking. Let's take a look back again at the ensembles. This was a good GEFS run here. This time frame, but yeah, that general idea is that 9th to 13th kind of. I guess that time frame still applies. 9 to 13th. that kind of time frame still applies here, and that's the opportunity to be able to get a system to cash in there. You love to see those height lines, build back in and at least give yourself a shot here for a storm. That's the golden opportunity that we love to see here on the GEFS, and that's what I do like on this run here is you are able to get those height lines to back off. Or you did originally, at least. You did it here in this time frame. You were able to get a little bit more that ridge to back off a little bit. But you really don't want to overanalyze a lot of these model runs too much so far. Just got to be patient. Be patient. Look at some of the panels, though, and give you an idea that there still are a lot of models showing a lot of significant storms here, and kind of can drive yourself crazy sometimes. So it's not worth getting too caught up in in every specific model right here. But here's the GFS, and you can look at January 6th, the amount of models. You can see there are some couple decent hits in this time frame here, and a lot some other moderate to lighter hits. But then you start getting into this time frame here, and that's when you start getting, look at that. That's a massive, you get that number 12 there. That's a 6-hour interval. Show them. That's a big one right there. But you can see there are some pretty big hits. There are some pretty big hits. A lot of pretty big hits here down this time frame. So just gives you, and still loading out. It's only an hour 282 here. Sponsorships, fantastic. So those are a lot of hits there. You can see there are a good amount of long range hits, and especially compared to the 18Z, if you really want to overanalyze, and the 18Z still has your fair share, but OZ here, there's a good amount of long range hits here. So you can comment which one you want to happen for your bet if you zoom in. I'll take. Personally, I'll take 12. 12 is the beauty right there. I think 8 will do too. But yeah, those are a lot of good. I'd be curious to see why some of these kind of show it kind of fading out there too. But you can see even there's some misses here in this time frame that don't hit, but close. So that's a pretty good. Those are pretty good GEFS. Oh no. There we go. Those are pretty good GEFS run there. Pretty good GEFS run. I'm not sponsored. No, it's just I'm not going to pay. If I'm going to get monetized on YouTube eventually, which will hopefully be soon, I can't play music that's copyrighted, and so I just search up non-copyright music. And play that, and it's got ads. So, yeah. 25, John? You're such a troll. Shows it. North Carolina snow. You're such a troll. Let's see. 5. 5 is nice. But remember, these are 6-hour intervals too. If you really want to overanalyze everything, but yeah, hey, you get that. Euro made everybody happy though on this one here. So you get your mid-Atlantic storm, then you get your New England storm. I guess New York City kind of gets left in between a little bit here on these runs. Here's a case where I would love to have a little bit more of an Arctic air injection, or not injection. I would love to a little bit more of the polar vortex into that, and I would love to get the upper level energy, one frame, just a little bit more of that upper level energy out there, out ahead of the system. One thing we do now have with the block in place is if you are able to get enough stream separation here in between systems, here's something to keep an eye on. This is why stream separation is key. So you can see here, you do have your block. It's kind of weaker actually on this run, which allows it to pull further north. But since you have your block here, and you have your stream separation, the more you get, meaning this piece and this piece farther away, you get your 50-50 low setup. What this does, it now allows for systems to slow down. So really I think the flow will still be a little fast, potentially, just a little fast. On that January 6th, I would lean towards that. And I say that's when we start seeing the flow start to slow down more, and you'll get, I think, bigger opportunities. Is YouTube? It should be fine. I don't think there's a problem here. The audio should be fine. Oh no. All right, we're cooking. As a couple, is sound fine? Is everything still working okay? Just checking. We doing okay? It is getting tested a little bit, I think. But I think we're running okay. So let me keep going here. I appreciate everybody that's came in here, liked the stream, and shout out our new subscriber. I believe it was Upstate Lake Show. Shout out him. Okay. Yes. So yeah. I mean, look at those some panels here. A lot of panel runs. I got a feeling that GFS. So here's why, like, ensemble, like some of these can be deceiving too. Like if some of these can be close hits, not happen, and then all of a sudden the mean is like way less on that run. And 14 is another. 14 is beautiful too. 8 as well. Ugh, there are so many long range bombs here on this GFS. So many. Or Jeff's ensemble. So these are all the 30 off members that show, different physics on every run, and every model has different physics and math that make them up. Every model has their own, but they just do a little bit different variation. I can't really speak to too much exactly what the differences are, but I'm not too familiar with that. But all these different ensemble members are a little bit different, and they help provide within the umbrella of the GFS model itself, help provide a little bit of perspective to the different solutions at play. And so within the GFS, typically their own mean is, what it is. This is your chat went through. Yeah, I can see. Don't worry about that. But these are not. Again, this is hopefully that explanation helps there. But if you want to take a look at that surface, take a look here at maybe the mean's not as reflective as I thought it would be. But that's a pretty good, probably higher than 18Z. Yeah. That's a pretty good snowfall mean for the long range. So some of those like 7-8 inch runs were crazy. Those were like so absurd. This is still really good. But some of those were just so crazy earlier. So I was like, oh, I don't know about that, but that's a real good it's a real good mean right there. Yeah, you're like kind of double chatting, but it's fine. I don't mind. Don't worry. I can see your messages. Don't worry, guys. Let's see, is that Euro ensemble anywhere out yet? Oh, it is. It's already pretty far out. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, Euro looks like it's got this. Yeah, look at that. Look at the stream separation you get there. Beautiful. I would still love for this placement of the ridge to be a little bit further west, but yeah. Again, still pretty messy. So you're not going to see. Yeah, your chat is you're if I ever stream again, yeah, I stream pretty frequently upstate Lake Show. I stream you know, once we have a storm threat locked down, I start tracking pretty much every night almost. So it's kind of what I do. But when the general pattern I feel like needs discussing, we cover that as well, which we're doing now. And you can see I love this here at this EPS. Well, I think that was a real good run change right there. The more stream separation between Western Ridge backs off a little bit as well. That was a good EPS run right there. Yeah, we are running a little slow right now, but we are doing fine on battery, which is good. But I appreciate all the chats. Upstate Lake Show. All right, do another refresh here. EPS looks great. Yeah, I mean this looks. I mean, Priya, that looks real good for the. That's a real good look right there. I mean, how many Januaries lately in the past couple of years have we been wishing that? I guess how many? I mean, all our Januaries the last couple of years, we've been wishing for this kind of stuff to happen here, and we're kind of finally getting it, and I think people are getting a little stir crazy, and I think people are holding on too much onto the past few winters, and acting like everything is the same, and it's just not. You're in an ENSO neutral pattern with a cross polar flow, negative NAO, positive PNA. It's a beautiful January pattern. It really is. Woof. Now that specifically, then that gets to, but that gets a little too far east. But you're never gonna get. I don't think you get back to back here. You either get one or the other. You don't get both here. You don't get both. That's how that works. Maybe some southern snow then. Maybe you keep an eye on this time frame. If that is a more suppressed look there. I wonder if some of the panels are out. You can take a look. It's out to 312. Kind of skips here to 282 to 312 though. We can take a look, see if some of these panels are out. Oh, we gotta go to. Here. Oh no, panels aren't even close. Aren't even close. We get the idea for the first system a little bit. But no, now you're gonna get me copyrighted for the commercial ad. No, don't need that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, can't stress it enough. It's a pretty good pattern. Pretty good pattern, guys. No, your chats are going through, Alpha. I don't know why you guys don't think your chats are going. Your chats are going through. Chat's working fine for everybody else, but I think it's probably on your end if your chat is not working. But did you have a question specifically, Alpha Letter? Euro is definitely going to show some hits for out in this range. At least some. But it doesn't really matter too much, to be honest. Him on computer and his bugging. It might not be. For me, the stream has held up pretty good tonight. We didn't really have too many audio issues, so at least I don't believe so. So it's held up pretty good. No, you're not. You're not distracting. Just I look at the chat. So whenever you guys chat something, I'm perfectly fine with it. Let me slide here to. Yeah, I mean, we have. Let's see, when was the last? Last January blizzard, I believe, was 2022. I believe that was the last January blizzard we had here. I do, again, for those that forget, I do have reanalysis. I do have my reanalysis. Blizzard of 22, 2021, 2015. For those that are curious, I do have those. We did break this down. So if you're ever curious, but yes, January 2022, I believe, was the last. Was the last big snowstorm we saw in January. So maybe that's when the next one is. Maybe we're just waiting for January to be the next big blizzard. Patience. Can't stress it enough. Be patient. Be patient, ladies and gentlemen. Also, models change, but the pattern has. I keep saying the card. I'm going to keep using it. I like it. The cards have been dealt. So no matter what, there's nothing you can kind of do at this point to change what models have got. The cards have been dealt. The pattern is going to do what it's going to do. But we can try to models will keep changing, and so we got to kind of break down how this plays out. Global. Mark, do you believe the cold pool in Canada is proper for this time of year? I mean, sea surface temperatures? do you mean by proper? Sea surface temperatures, I don't worry about too much right now. We'll say models do love to follow the gradients, though. Keep an eye on that. Could be a precursor for a low track at some point. Some kind of low track off this gradient here. That maybe wouldn't be a bad guess for one of our storms. Wouldn't be a bad guess. Low pressures do love to stick close to the gradients. But I don't know what you mean by cold pool. I just know that this is it's going to get colder if that's what you're asking. But if you're talking about the blob out here in the North Atlantic. Actually, we are technically, it's Nino 3.4. It's not. Yeah, you can look at, it's really more North Atlantic. Right here, you can just, same here, model, like to follow the gradient, so that wouldn't be a bad bet for a track at some point, kind of right along that gradient. Look at that, it's still 26 degrees out here off the coast of Florida, even into the Gulf of Mexico here in late December. Still 28 degrees here that could be, in theory, there could be a tropical system in theory down there. Still not frozen up here. Not going to be too. It's going to, that block of Greenland here is going to provide warmer temperatures for them. But yeah, maybe not a bad idea for at some point. Storm along that gradient there. Drop a level of energy if you can get it. Boom. Be golden. Stay golden, pony boy. But yeah, that GEFS run was, man. This was a banger of a GEFS run here. You want to look at the total. You have there's enough misses that kind of skew it out, but there are a lot of massive hits. A lot of massive hits on some of these runs. And it just kind of illustrates that the ceiling is high with some of these systems here. So especially after January 5th to 7th, the ceiling is most definitely high for some of these systems. Doing fine there. Hoping these panels, man. The panels on the Euro ensembles take way longer to load out. Well, but at least we can get January 5th to 7th. So yeah, the Euro does show good variety. It seems like the Euro is kind of bought in here to at least some sort of moderate set. some sort of moderate snow event during this time frame. So there's a kind of little bit. GFS is not as enthused, and the Euro is to an extent. I didn't even look at it. The Euro ensemble has 50 members as well. It looks like the Euro pulls some of these members pretty far well north too on some of these runs. Pulls, so that's a scenario where you can almost see the transfer take place here on some of these, and it kind of takes over. And so if that confluence does pull further north out, then that puts New York City and southern New England into play as well, in the Hudson Valley. But keep an eye on that for some of those runs. Total. Yeah, Mike Trout actually follows me on X. That's cool things I can say. Mike Trout, yeah, he's really cool. I got to, yeah, I mean, and Mike Trout asking for forecast details. Definitely a pretty cool moment. Yeah, I love baseball too, so I love all sports, both basketball, football, but I do love. I love my Red Sox, but yeah, that was a cool. One. You can't. He does follow a good amount of weather people on here on X for sure. Mike Trout does love the weather. You happen to catch Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter talking about the pattern, checking the Euro negative NA. Oh, wild. Scott Van Pelt does love the weather. He does. He has for years as well. That has been cool as well. Yeah, he follows some of us as well. He doesn't follow me. He does follow a good amount of people, I think, in the weather, or at least some. But yeah, Mike Trout follows a ton of people. He follows a good amount of people in the weather community. I was lucky enough to be one, and even to chat with him a little bit. That was that was pretty cool. That was like winter of 2022, I think. That was a blizzard of 2022. Even retweeted one of my tweets. So what are you doing that? It was Jersey got hit pretty well in that blizzard of 2022. They got hit pretty well there. I'm going to Big Bend National Park, January 9th to 12th. Is it going to snow? Should I be concerned? I shouldn't. I'm sorry. I'm not the most inclined. I don't usually like searching up because then I have to search up everything. But in Texas, oh boy. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Texas at all, but the Mike Trout BWX collab, yeah, that would have happened. Never. Oh, dang. Oh, yeah, you're there. Yeah, that area of Texas can definitely get some snow. I can tell you, it's possible. You could get some snow. But yeah, it's possible. But I can't tell you for certain. The South in general is at play for snow, especially. I guess the Southeast could get into January 5th to 7th, but likely after January 7th. So January 8th to 14th, you could somewhere in that week span, you could keep an eye on for maybe some snow during time is certainly possible out there. No, Texas. Hey, Texas actually has some elevated areas out the Mexican border, and Texas can get snow. Texas can very much get snow. I know it's like Texas, but Texas can get, especially even North Texas too, up there by Amarillo or Amarillo, if you're Spanish. But speak Spanish, Jesus, get caught up. You speak Espanol, Amarillo. But yeah, Texas can very much see snow. I cooked. What did I cook with, Alpha? Mike Trout or Texas? All right, we're still chilling. That Epps has got those hits though. I want to see the Van Pelt. I would love to see that. Where was it on Sports Center last or tonight? Was he on tonight doing it? Because then I'll try to have to watch Sports Center after, see if I can find that clip. We're still doing fine. A lot of moderate events here on the Euro. Just peeping the panels. That's it. Nothing too crazy. Just enjoying the panels here. I'm gonna be looking at them anyway, so might as well stream them, I guess. I like looking at everything. This really makes or breaks nothing about the forecast, but I just like looking at them anyway. So you sent me that clip, John. All right, I'll have to look at it. Yeah, I'll watch it. But Mike the Jeepster, hopefully that answers your question there. You love the snow? I don't know how to say your username. Zixva. ZXVA. Yes, I can understand. Can understand a little bit Spanish. Comprendo el español un poco. Half the time. Is it going to snow a lot in the Northeast? It's gonna snow. It's gonna snow some. I'd say at least some. At some point, it's going to snow. I would favor, but it's not guaranteed by any means. That's not what I wanted to do. Because that bilingual, I can understand that a little bit better than speak it myself, but I took enough Spanish classes. Snow. your favorite things. Yeah. Those are your two favorite things. I mean, hey. It came to the right channel. No, if snow's enjoy the snow. Taking you back to high school Spanish class, right? I know. Testing my skills. I like it. There's definitely some hits here on the, and it's what I say too about the long range, like the panels here. The panels I like looking at almost better than the surface maps or the surface total mean, because they kind of get skewed sometimes, because if it doesn't show the exact jackpot in the same spot on every single one of the model runs, then it's like kind of spread out all over, then it kind of gets it kind of can get messed up a little bit. Hey, Alpha! Don't disrespect Spanish. just because you can't understand it. Me gusta español. Tú gustas español también. You Alpha. You need to like Spanish as well. It's okay. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, there are some. Yeah, those hits are there though. I guess that's why the EPS didn't have all of them. If they don't hit in the same spot every time, wasn't as many like massive. It's a lot more moderate snowstorms on this run. Not that it matters, but just if we're specifically looking at it, that's what that happened to show. Just peeping the panels. How are we doing? Okay, we're doing okay. Just peeping the panels. Again, I'm gonna look at them anyways, but I like getting a sense of what could happen. Gives me a different range, a variety of different scenarios here. And none of these specifically are to happen every time either. But yeah, one of these specific runs will probably be close to right. One of them, in theory. You just hope it's the big one. Yeah, no, I saw the NOAA 8 to 15 day outlook. I saw that. I really don't. I'm not a huge fan of those, to be honest, guys. In my opinion, it's just really another opinion. That's really it. They're great. They're good, but it's just another opinion, to be honest. That's really it, or it's a collective to make one opinion, a group of people. So it's not for me. It's for a lot of people like hold those to be like end all be all, but to me they're just just whatever. It's another perspective, really. It's another opinion versus like raw data. That's kind of how I view it. I break down like raw data, so it's just another, for me it's just another perspective, and it's more an official tool to go to. For obviously I'm far from that, but never advertise myself as that, as I do get an advertisement. Dexter and Chamberlain EDU sponsor. Cool maps that kind of show maybe trend. Yeah, I mean sometimes they catch on to they're able to, display certain things, but for the most part, it's not anything, too crazy of a perspective ever. But one thing I like about here that the panel show is that if that like 10, 11, if like 9 to 11 like doesn't notice, there's still a good amount of like 12, 13th hits as well in that kind of time frame. So there's a lot of significant hits in that time frame as well, in the 12th to 13th, and so that allows you to, if you don't cash in on one, then you maybe cash in on the next. I do involved in the NOAA. I definitely don't know more total meteorology than them, but I am confident in my ability to, forecast these kind of winter storms here. I should be, if I'm not, then, what am I doing? But I'm always getting better, always trying to get better at understanding these things for you guys, and try to understand every setup, look at as many different details as I can, add it up, add more knowledge to the bank, to the inventory, and try to spit it out. And I pretty much reveal almost all of my thoughts on here. And a lot of times why I like streaming too is it allows me a chance to look at maybe things I wouldn't have. A lot of people ask questions. I'll break things down. Sometimes I'm able, since I'm on here a lot of times for such a long time, I can break down and see different things, and be able to maybe look at something that I might have missed before. So, but for the most part, I have a general idea of what I'm going to talk about before I come on here. But that's why I do like streaming as well. It adds some perspective. What all y'all are thinking? Guess I'm from the South now. Move my music back. As possible. We've definitely upgraded the quality of these over time. The OGs remember how these first started on iPhone and filming my my Mac. BG, yeah, I'm here for y'all. Don't worry. Sorry, one thing I can't see with this though is I can't see the 500 for every single. I can't see 500 millibars for every single storm. I wish I could see that. I wish I could really see that. That'd be cool. I think you can on weather models, but I'm not getting weather bell animals. I can't get all that stuff. It'd be almost too much. The day I retire, I'm thinking about my retirement. Damn, I am not there yet. I really just started not too long, especially on YouTube. I've only been on YouTube really for a few years, and really most of it's just been the last couple months. In like 5, now you'll be yeah, you definitely ain't an OG yet, Alpha, but I don't care. It doesn't really matter how long you've been with me. I appreciate everybody that has been with me for a little while, but what I really just, you guys come in, you know, whatever you seek, the weather information you're trying to get, look for, and hopefully I can, provide it to you and give some perspective into my thoughts and how I break it down. And, I do have more than the average person, so I try to, kind of my target was is, the average person or the person that likes weather and doesn't quite know a lot about it yet, or someone that knows a good amount, but likes different perspectives. That's kind of my my ideas. I can provide a little bit how I break down some of the in-depth stuff, and give some insight into what to look for and how I break down. So it works all right. It's not unbelievable, but seems to work okay. Yeah, can you believe it's been about 5.5 years since I've been on X. Believe that, 5.5 years. Hurricane season 2019 is when I came on. It's been a minute now. Not a bad mean though. Still, it's a solid mean for such far time out. I mean, that's a consistent like 4-inch mean there from Virginia to Maine. That's pretty solid. It's pretty freaking solid. A lot of it from Maine though is this next event. I think it has it. Yeah, and that will be all 10-1 too, probably. So that's the one. I don't think it'll be a heavier, wetter snow. But this is kind of the general idea. So let's play for snow in this next one. Kind of right here. It's a exclusive interior event coming up this weekend. Start flips to snow. Jim the Weatherman, I'm new here. I'm never going to be an OG. Time goes by so slow. It's okay. You don't need to be an OG here. Whenever you come on, it's fine. Just appreciate you here now, and that's it. All y'all that like the stream and subscribed, whether it was years ago or now, it's great. It's greatly appreciated. But does not matter to me when you came here to BGWX HQ. It was just the fact you're here now. That's it. You can't control what you did in the past. You can only be focused on the present. The present is what you can control, and you're here with me. So I want to give you guys the best time we can here, breaking down the weather. And not only, I can't, it's not all the weather is not all about the best time, but give you the best forecast that I can as well, and the best insight on possible different things that could happen here with the weather. So it's a unique, I feel like we have a unique things a way of doing. I want to give you guys new people. Like, in order to attract new people on YouTube, I need to make sure I still have something enticing on but I feel like I've done a good job of not crossing over clickbait. I want to make sure I give something when you look at it, be like, oh, will there be big storms in January? And from there, it's like, no, we're going to talk about, all right, he's going to talk about potential for storms and cold and snow in January. And that's it. That's how I want to do things in terms of that. I don't want to put stuff, and I know, I respect Ryan Hall, but he does put out some of those, a little bit of a clickbait, but it's he's kind of scaled that back a little bit. He used to take a lot of heat for that, especially when he started. He does such good work with his platform. That's really, you can't really give too much. I can't give too much flack to him. He's pretty awesome. So all the stuff he does, the severe weather coverage. Oh boy, more Espanol challenging me. But yeah, right. I mean, that's kind of my niche though. I want to do weather analysis and, be able to provide you guys, in-depth weather analysis simplified. is kind of the way. It's the way I kind of want to do things. Say, I think you were saying you weren't reading the chat, or you can't read the chat, or you're not reading the chat. Is that what? I think that's what you were saying. Did I read chat? You might retire. No, I'm not retiring. He was just alpha. Alpha was saying, I hope you don't retire soon. The day you retire, you're going to be sad. I'm not retiring anytime soon. If I don't die, I might, yeah. All right. That's a pretty good EPS mean, though. Shouldn't have had all those tabs open. A rookie mistake. It's a pretty good EPS mean, guys, for the long range. That 8-inch mean was absolutely insane. That 6 to 8 inch mean was absurd. That was absolutely absurd. But this seems like pretty good, pretty fair. It's highlighting there's a lot of opportunities, and that GEFS that came back too with some heat. I don't want panels. I want 1-to-1 too. Should take note. Look at that. Juicy, man. It's like a, oh boy. I worry we might die in a second. So, but that's like a 4 to 8 inch mean from here. Make your home special this holiday season with furniture from Party and Builds. Save up 20% off your entire furniture. To LeBron, I'm not going to be the LeBron. To LeBron of Twitter. You got Orth. I did get, even though I messed up that snow map, that second snow map, I did great on the first one, and I messed up the second. So I try not to be too hard on myself. I was battling a lot of trolls with that storm, so that was difficult. I didn't want to give them that ammunition or firepower, but I don't really, I really don't, too much. Just mute or block and move on with them. But yeah, I think that's the general idea. I mean, we get a pretty good pattern here coming up. That's the general takeaway. And even to look just offshore, look at that just offshore mean here. So it shows, a lot of these runs barely just missing as well as even up here in Nova Scotia, and some of these runs that are just offshore. And it gives you, I think some of these are related to closer storms, but gives you an idea that there's an opportunity for some big snowstorms. And you just got to be patient. No guarantees as always. Yes, the trolls were very much out last storm. Again, no guarantees, but you got to stay patient. So we have cold air that comes in. We switch to rain to snow. We break it down here for y'all. Quickly. Is this storm poised to break? No. There's not, I don't know which one you're talking about, but if you're talking about January 5th to 7th, that one is not probably going to break. I mean, it could break technically a daily snowfall record, I guess, but those get broken all the time. Anytime there's a notable snowstorm, those aren't too crazy, but I don't see a record-breaking snowstorm happening for this time frame. So we get that interior snow, rain to snow, and then that moves through, and then what we get is kind of sets it up for January, snowish potentially, January 3rd or 4th. It'd be like a Clipper-like event, and it's a late bloomer. It goes off the coast and will dump probably on Newfoundland, probably somewhere up there. It'll be a massive, massive blizzard for them, probably strong snowstorm for them. And then that sets up January 5th to 7th, depending on how strong the confluence is, and how strong the western, exact placement of the western ridge and the negative NA and the block as well will play a part, but mainly the confluence behind that will set up what happens after. And then we'll see, depending on the stream separation, we'll take a look at the kind of 8th, 13th-ish, 9th, 15th, and that's kind of how things probably shake up. And then from there, we still have more cold air locked into place. But you're not going to get both. You're not going to get multiple storms probably in that 8th to 13th. At least not for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. It could be one for the South, one for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, but probably not both. Am I going to do the Euro AI? No, I'm not going to make it to the Euro AI period, but I will look at the Euro AI when it comes out. I'll look at all the models. How prepared is the region's power? There's no massive storm to really worry about power. We're not even close to power outages yet. If you're talking about that storm.